Hello, everyone, and welcome to New Week Fortnite Live. My name is Kale Smith. I am one of the community managers here at Epic Games. We have the whole community team up here today. We got Will. Will, how you doing?
Doing all right.
Also, one of our community managers, Natalie, over there. Another one of the community managers, Natalie. How are you?
All right, I'm doing good.
Uh, there we go.
Sorry.
We also
not my laptop.
we also have Cameron Winston. He's back this week to talk about
I'm back.
weapons. Cameron, our systems designer. How are you, Cameron?
I'm excellent. Thank you for asking me.
Thank you. Thank you. That's good. That's good. So this week we're going to talk about weapons and traps within the game. We're going to explore a couple of different, well, I should say more than a couple. We're going to explore quite a few variants that you guys will see. Some of you that are in OT might or might not have come across some of these weapons, but we want to show some of the diversity that the game has to offer, just a small taste, and we're going to have Cameron here to explain some of these things as well. We have a community spotlight we're going to get into, as well as traps. So before we get into that, Will, you went to ECGC. ECGC, okay.
It's like a tongue
Eastern,
twister.
yeah, Eastern Conference,
No.
well,
East Coast Game
East Coast
Conference.
Game Conference. There we go.
Yes, I did.
How was that?
Yeah, so East Coast Game Conference is an annual conference here in Raleigh. There's probably been going on, I don't know, a few years now. It was here my first year at Epic. I've been here 4 years, so it's been here at least that long. I think maybe a little bit longer than that. And basically, what it is it's a place for developers and aspiring developers to meet up. There's a lot of sort of panels and different things that you can go to. And so I was on with Wes Phillips, who's also on the Fortnite team, is going to come play a little bit later. And we were on a panel about game marketing. So there's a lot of aspiring developers. They're building their game, but of course, once you have an awesome game, you got to figure out how to get it out to people and how to get them interested and stuff like that. And so we had a lot of fun doing that. The cool thing about East Coast Game Conference is that because it's a local thing and because we've been going, pretty much every year the last several years, we actually see a lot of people that have, been involved in some way or another with Fortnite.
Right.
So 2 years ago, it's actually the first place where outside of the building that we showed Fortnite to somebody. So we kind of brought it there. It was a bit of a surprise. We had a little booth, and people would come up to it, and we would talk to them, and then kind of like sneak them off in a back room. It was like the very first time where like the team was like pretty nervous, like, hey, obviously it's we're still early on, so it was very, very early at that point. And try to see like, hey, this thing that we're working on, like, do they dig it? Do they want to play? And what's cool is a lot of those people that played there then came to our Storm Chaser event in Raleigh last year. They have, we saw a lot of them at ECGC yesterday, same people, and some of them are even coming to visit us tomorrow. So it's cool because, Fortnite for us has been a little bit different in the sense that like a lot of our sort of early community building efforts we've been able to do in person. Right. So ECGC was just another place that we did that, and it's cool. You bring people in the game, but before you bring them in the game, you meet them in person, and so that's kind of a unique thing that we've been doing.
Were people's expressions like when they figured out that we were showing off Fortnite? Were they like kind of like nervous and like, oh my God, wait, I get to play?
Like when we initially showed it a couple of years ago, there's people that were definitely surprised, right? Because we had initially shown our trailer some time ago, and then hadn't said a whole lot about the game because we were, the scope of the game changed over time, and we really decided it was something we want to invest into in a big way and make into this awesome thing. So no, I don't think people were expecting to see it there, but then when they did, it was this awesome, kind of exciting moment where people went, and it was cool because it was it wasn't like the big reveal that you have at like a game show or something like that. It was a little bit more intimate in that it's like 15-20 people in a room, they play, they hang out and talk to us, and that was even before we started doing the Storm Chaser events, which is pretty much the same vibe that we get there, right? Like everybody plays, they hang out, It's a lot of fun. We get feedback from people, and so yeah, that's the way that we've been doing things.
Okay.
Yeah, by that Sunday, like people were lining up trying to get those last tickets to come see us because it was like word kind of slowly spread out.
Yeah, yeah.
It started out, everybody was like, "What do you mean Fortnite's here?" Like they just figured Epic was there in the engine capacity that we typically are, but
Right.
word got out, and then we had people coming up to us like, "Oh my God, give me a ticket
Can
to
I
play."
Yeah. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. You mentioned Storm Chasers event.
Yes.
Last week we gave a call to action, basically, like we wanted a shout out to the people that are watching to let us know where they want the next Storm Chasers event to be.
Yeah, so we have something that's essentially a topic every single
Right.
week that we ask people to use Fortnite hashtag Fortnite Live and
Fortnite
talk
Live.
about it. And so last week, we've been doing these Storm Chaser events for a while. We have some planned for this year, but not all of them. And so we're just trying to figure out where do people want us to go? Where do they think that we should head? We heard some interesting places. Chicago. Somebody mentioned somewhere in Iowa. There was a few places. I think it would.
Ham said Denmark.
I mean, that would be,
Did anyone
okay.
suggest Alaska, like I said last week? Because Alaska would be pretty cool.
I mean, maybe we could go. Hey,
Antarctica.
anywhere there's a bunch of people that want to play Fortnite, I'm willing to go there.
got bears and
That's kind of how I feel about it. Bears
And Sam.
And
yeah,
salmon.
oh, sure, okay. I don't know. Are they known to be big gamers? Bears and salmon.
I don't know. They're people. Everyone loves Fortnite.
Where are llamas native to?
You
They
heard
should
it.
be-
You heard it here first. Bears and salmon are people.
No, people. People live in Alaska are people, and there's also bears and salmon.
I
there.
would love to go to Alaska. I've heard it's beautiful.
Yeah, that's the whole point. That's why people should ask for it, so we can go there.
I'm all right. I'm with you. Maybe we can. If everybody in the chat wants to vote Alaska, that would be cool with me.
Yeah.
Hashtag vote Alaska.
So, but this is the kind of conversation we're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep it going. We're not gonna decide in like the next few days or
Right.
anything where that event's gonna be. We're gonna take some time with it, but we do want to continue to hear more about that. So, one of the things that we do when we do these topics is that people who are showing up at Twitch chat every week, people that are talking with us and Twitter and stuff like that, we're bringing some of them into the game. We're making Storm Chasers. So this week we brought in 3 more people into the game.
Yep.
Taco Pizza Hunter. Pretty cool name, I think. D. Miller Wireless and Joe Moore all came into the game this week. There's people that have been asking in the chat, are we doing codes today? No, unfortunately, we're not doing codes today. There will be time for codes again in the future, but we're actually getting pretty close near to the end of OT2. So this will actually be the last week on this stream that we bring new people in or announce the people that we brought in. But we do want people to keep talking and using the hashtag Fortnite Live to keep talking to us because we're going to do stream next week, which will be our stream where we wrap up online test 2. And next week, what we want to hear about in between now and then on the Fortnite Live hashtag is what would you most like to know about Fortnite? We're going to try to answer some questions, things that you guys would want to know. Let us know. And then next week when we do the stream, we're going to get to some of those questions.
What would you most like to know about Fortnite? That's a big one. That's a big one. Hashtag Fortnite Live. Yes.
And
All
we
right.
will
That's
tell
the
you.
way.
So last week we did our first community spotlight.
Yes.
And this week we have a brand new community spotlight member, Cooties.
Yes.
And Natalie's going to talk about Cooties. Awesome guy. I got to play with him. Was it Monday? Monday night. I played with him. We played a couple hexes, and we got some stuff we're going to show you off. But Cooties, all about Cooties. Natalie, can you tell us a little bit about?
So we picked Cooties from our community of players in the alpha because he spent like a whole lot of time playing. I think he was one of the top 5 people who spent time playing in the alpha. And in addition to that, he didn't just, play all that time and not give us anything back. He's like spent a lot of time in the forums really breaking down his feedback into categories for us and just really going in depth. So we, of course, appreciated that a great deal, having that. Especially from somebody who spent so much time going as far as they can in the game. But yeah, that, and in general, he's just a really helpful player. So that was good criteria to spotlight him. But yeah, Cooties, he gave us a lot of cool information. We asked him what his favorite class was. He told us about the Outlander. He kind of dispelled a myth that the Outlander can't move around as fast as the Ninja or whatever. He's like, actually, I feel like the Outlander can do anything because, I can get all these resources so quickly that I can build traps that help me bounce around the map really quickly or whatever I need to do. And he felt like the Outlander is such a good a support role for the team in terms of being able to give them resources as well as great in combat and quick in all different ways. So and he likes to build traps. So
yeah, one of the things that you guys are seeing right now on screen. This is in the game I was with Cooties, and he built this house of traps that basically jettisons the husks into a pit.
Yes.
And we're going to replicate it today on stream just to show you guys how awesome it is. But when I was in game with him, I had not seen it built. And you had mentioned he gets into the zone when he's building these traps.
Something that he described in the interview was how he kind of gets inside the mind of the husk by actually when the storm spawns in the map, you can see these little swirling purple tornadoes, and that's where the husks are essentially going to spawn from. So you can he goes out to those spots on the map and he starts looking towards the atlas, thinking about what's the shortest, what's the path of least resistance, and that's how he builds out his base, thinking about which direction they're coming from, exactly why they would attack a certain angle. So he's like a husk whisperer or something.
That's a Photoshop waiting to happen.
But yeah, another thing that I thought was really interesting that he did is a lot of our players are catching on to this pyramid technique where they're building metal pyramids around their base, and it's a little bit more resource efficient because you're using less shapes to make your base than you would if you were just making a box or your typical building shape. And in addition, it's easier to navigate your base and see what's going on. Well, in his case, he doesn't complete the pyramid at the top anymore. He actually closes it off with a trap so that if anybody does land on top, they're just immediately hitting a trap. I mean, he's got all these great ideas. People should check out the blog on Fortnite.com for more of his stuff.
What you guys are seeing right here is this hybrid pyramid that he has built. He has a back entrance, and that's one of the challenging things about building a pyramid is you kind of want to close it off, making it a symmetrical pyramid shape. But he actually has that square top, and I believe you told me he puts the trap up on the top. If anything happens to walk up on top of it to attack the atlas, it takes damage.
Or get lobbed there or anything.
Really cool stuff.
But like I mentioned about how many hours he played, there was 5 players total that we did. So something that's shown off in the blog is a graffiti of Cooties' name. And these were like an Easter egg that the developers put in. One of our concept artists, Ben Schaefer, had put together these awesome graffiti tags for the 5 players who played the most time in OT1, I believe, is the criteria for that. And it was put in like an industrial map just for them to kind of discover. And I believe they even snuck it into the release notes, like really deep in the release notes if they were reading it. And I think that's how one of the players discovered it. He's like, I know this is in the game. And Cooties was actually talking about how all of these guys ended up becoming friends after this because one person found it and then they invited the other players into the game to check it out. But it was just a really cool thing. So now they all have their own graffiti tag as a part of the game. So
it's pretty cool stuff. Cooties and Kassange, I think Kassange is the one that made the thread, but Cooties has this picture where he's like
they're all dancing in front of it. So those are my favorite. Cool. Yeah, I wish they were higher res pictures because I wanted to share that. They're like dancing in front of it.
Yeah,
but they were really, really excited.
Good. So the community spotlight member again this week is Cooties. You guys can check it out on our website, Fortnite.com.
And he gave away codes. That was another thing to mention.
Oh yeah, he
so
did.
In addition to those other new storm chasers, we actually have 5 people from Reddit or people who actually read the blog post. He was going there and handing out codes to people who told him the best reason why they want to play Fortnite. So that was kind of a fun reward for him and whoever actually read his interview.
Yeah. So be on the lookout for the next community spotlight, and if you see Cooties, tell him that he's awesome because he is. All right. So we are going to start getting our game loaded up. We're going to get Wes up here to take over and play. In the meantime, Cameron's going to talk to us about weapons a bit. So Cameron, there's a whole lot of weapons in the game.
Yes.
And I probably haven't even scratched the surface of as a matter of fact, we were at lunch and they were talking about a new weapon that Bill was working on, and we were just mind blown about that. But there's a lot of weapon diversity in the game. So can you kind of talk about what type of things the team wanted to offer players when it comes to weapons in the game?
Yeah, so we're obviously we're a game with we have the rich shooting tradition here at Epic, so of course you were going to do guns, but also like we wanted to kind of offer everything from melee weapons all the way through guns, and of course that encompasses a lot of different types of gameplay. We have katanas, and we have hammers, and we have axes, but we also have like laser guns and stuff like that, which is really cool. So we wanted to kind of give players sort of like an option of what kind of deadly weapon do you want to use to approach a certain situation. And we're trying to make it so that different weapons have different strengths and weaknesses.
Right. And I know one of the things you had mentioned to me before was the feeling of like you could be, because of the type of world that we have, you could use like a broom as a weapon. Like whatever you can find, we want to make that kind of an aspect of it. So what were some of those inspirations for the weapon design?
Well, if you look at like our weapons, we kind of run the gambit from like things that after some sort of horrible world-altering situation like we have in Fortnite, going from the I found this in my garage and now it's a broom, like you said, all the way up to we have laser axes. And
right.
So there's a whole bunch of like opportunities for inspiration there. Whether it's something that looks kind of the word that gets tossed around the office a lot is kit bashed. So we have like that kit bashed Fortnite look to things where we're kind of like like an improvised weapon.
Let me put
and
this
then,
together. Yeah.
But we also have this cool technology where it's like, why is there a laser act? Like it's awesome. There's a laser act. So like here you have it. And so we have everything from all that range. So any kind of idea that we have can fit somewhere in that kind of schema, and then hopefully it's cool for the players, and then they get to kind of choose where they want to go with that.
Right.
I see that I'm Will Kinsler on the screen over there.
You don't look a day over Will
I
Kinsler.
do. Will Kinsler's still sitting here. I also want to. I think we should do hashtag run the gambit.
Run the gambit.
This was something we were talking about earlier. Is
Hashtag
it
run the
gambit
gambit.
or gamut?
I think it's actually Gambit, but I totally probably said Gambit, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
It's-
totally.
it's an-
I mean,
not an
Gambit's,
uncommon
Gambit's
mistake,
an awesome.
apparently.
He's an awesome X-Man.
Yeah, he is.
Yes.
X-Man.
And as a designer, I'm familiar with the Prisoner's Dilemma, which could also be referred to as a gambit.
That's true. That's
So there
true.
you go.
There you go.
The gambit of whether you should say that again.
Well, I should. The gambit of whether I should say what
Also,
again.
there's not enough monkeys. Can we bring some monkeys in, please?
What monkeys?
There we go. Thank you.
They help us focus.
What monkeys?
Hold on. Wait, hold on. Oh, he's so. Outbreak.
Hey, it's a movie
Careful.
reference I get.
My mic. Hold on. I'm not used to being in a boy band.
So, what types of scenarios? We talked about some of those weapons. What type of scenarios are better for melee versus range? I think it's kind of an obvious question, but was there some type of gameplay mechanics where we want to encourage playing maybe a melee versus a ranged?
Well, obviously, certain classes are going to kind of make certain weapons a little bit better. Like obviously, if you're a commando, your weapon of choice is an assault rifle. But if you're a ninja, you're probably better off using a sword. That's definitely going to be in there. But also, certain situations are going to lend themselves to kind of to different kinds of weapons. Like for example, if you got a bunch of husks pounding on your door, maybe a nice big hammer swing could take care of those easier than trying to shoot them all with the pistol. Likewise, if there's a flinger all the way out in there, those guys are resistant to shooting, so you want to go up there and kind of cut them up with the sword. The other side of this is if you've got like a blaster or like some other kinds of like a smasher in your base, maybe you don't want to be right up in that guy's face hitting him with a melee weapon unless you're a ninja. Maybe you want to stand behind your walls and shoot him with your guns.
Right.
So the different situations are going to provide different affordances for your tools and what you want to choose.
Okay.
Should we show some of these weapons that we're talking about?
Yeah, we're going to get into the gameplay here in 1 second. We can actually probably switch over to the gameplay right now.
Yeah, I mean, my face is nice and all, but I mean,
There we go. So
live.
just to give some backdrop, we have we're in a dev build, and there's going to be things that we're going to spawn in here that aren't necessarily indicative of what you guys are going to play. So I want to make that readily apparent. And this just is to show off, again, some of the weapons that we have and some of the traps that you can utilize. And we're going to see some different types of husks, so and monsters. So so right now, Wes has a is that rocket sledge?
It is a rocket sledge.
Which is one of the melee weapons that you had talked about. Josh, can you spawn just some husks so we can see it in action? So can you kind of explain, you know, I know it's a work in progress, Cameron, but the combo system that we kind of have per weapon?
Sure. So first off, the rocket sledge is not a weapon, I believe, that's hooked up to this, but just the in general, we have combos on our hammers, our axes, and our swords. And essentially the way they work is you can do a series of left-click attacks, which will then sort of build up to a right-click attack, which drains a little bit of your... okay, it looks like the rocket sledge is actually hooked up as a hammer. So if Wes does 2 clicks and then a right click, he's going to get a different attack than if he does 4 clicks and a right click. So each of these different attacks should be different, and every weapon also has like a default.
Oh.
Well, yeah, dying is definitely
they're all
not part of
coming
the
my way
combo
now.
system.
Well, you know what? We cheated everything except my health.
You should have some health packs. I
Whoops.
think we gave you some.
Well, you know what? When you're in the heat of battle, when you're in the heat of the moment, if you will, then sometimes you just die and then you respawn because that's what we got.
Your team was just kind of standing
That's
idly
true.
by
Thanks
watching
for the help,
you.
y'all. Appreciate it. Teamwork.
Hashtag.
Hashtag teamwork.
Hashtag bears are people. So we have here though, so essentially, if he does 2 attacks and then a right click, he's going to get a big swing. But if he does 4 attacks and a right click, he's going to get a big AOE.
Go for husks. Go for husks. We'll do it live.
We'll do it live.
Where's the husks? There we go. I'm trying to. There we go.
So that's a 3 hitter. That's a 3 hit combo.
1, 2, 3 of those.
And 4, and then if you do 4 hits.
All right, let's do it. 1,
Don't die.
2, 3, 4. Now right click and you get big swing. Up.
Did I
He
just?
reset it.
He reset it.
because I clicked too many times.
Yeah.
That's
I'm a dude. I'm a Diablo player.
you're a
man.
clicker.
Like, don't hate.
you're a clicker.
1, 2, 3, 4. Right click.
Boom.
Yeah.
So
All
that
right.
kind of stuff, that's exactly how it works. So we have stuff like that for the hammers, the axes, and the swords. We're constantly working on improving that experience. Like we have, I've seen some designs for ways we could improve, communication of where you are in the combo, so you don't get lost.
Right.
Because right now we're really not communicating that system exists, because it's more of a proof of concept just to get that kind of stuff in the game. So we're getting there, and hopefully that'll be better as it goes on.
What now?
Party.
There's 2 bars. One is health. The other one is energy.
That's right.
And when you execute some of
Dance.
these
good
for
one.
specials, the end of the combinations, it's going to use up energy.
Yes.
Was there a reason? I'm sure there's a very good explanation for this, but was it like a conscious decision to make people very conscious about
Yes.
the energy when they use those?
So there's a couple reasons for that. The first is that energy, as it exists in the game, is sort of a mobility limiter, because you have the ability to move at speed, and then you can sprint, which means you get to move faster. So the idea is that you have sort of a choice point here where it's like, okay, do I want to spend my energy moving around the map more? Do I want to spend my energy, attacking monsters? Do I want to spend it on some of my abilities? So it's meant to be kind of like a way for players to kind of decide what's important to them.
Speaking of monsters, how about we get some more monsters? So people watching the stream don't think that this game is just people running around doing nothing.
Dance party.
So the idea is that
With
as
lights.
you
Yeah, here we go with lights.
as you are doing these combos and
rave.
it's draining your energy, you're having fewer mobility options. Also, some classes and abilities
There's
Oh,
one.
might be
Jesus.
able to have cheaper attacks and stuff
Right.
like that. So.
Right.
Oh, no.
We got smashed.
I got you,
So,
Wes.
Wes, can you switch weapons? We have
Yeah,
a couple
I'll
of
do
different
that.
things
As soon as I
Respawn?
resurrect
after your.
I'm
from
watching
my
your
horrible
backpack
performance.
again.
Here we
Keep
go.
it safe.
Well, I have everything. Okay, so which you want to see first? Do you want to see the grenade launcher?
Yeah, sure. So we can
Okay.
start with the grenade launcher. I think the grenade launcher and the rocket launcher, for that matter, are really cool in that one of the elements that you guys have kind of put together, the team has put together, is the ability to use it in combat, but also as a way to collect resources.
Yeah.
Now, was there a conscious decision behind that?
It's not so much a conscious decision. It's just that's kind of how Fortnite works. Like a lot of design decisions kind of come out of other decisions. It's not like somebody sat down and said, "Hey, should we make a gun that can collect trees?" It was like we have this game where you do damage to things. And when you do damage to things, they die, and when they die, you get the resources. So somebody made a gun. And most of the guns don't damage walls because it would be kind of silly if you were just like, if we have a building game and you're shooting things with a machine gun and the walls are just evaporating, like that would be pretty unfun pretty fast. But then when you make an explosion, of course, the conversation goes, well, hey, if I'm shooting a rocket or if I'm shooting a grenade, shouldn't that destroy buildings? Like that just seems to make sense. So then we put it in and it's like, oh, it does destroy buildings. It does do that. And so... and I want to kind of take an opportunity to shout out some of the guys doing this work. We got guys like Matt Hansey, Tim Ellick, and James Kincaid kind of making decisions. A lot of times it'll start off as, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool if we had a grenade launcher?"
Jump down there.
And then they make a grenade launcher, and then it's like, well, what should the grenade launcher do? And then it's oh, well, it should explode things. And then it's like when it explodes things, it collects resources. And then we say, okay, well, is this fun? Should we keep this in the game? And the answer is yes, we want to keep this in the game. But then you run into other challenges like, well, you can't just have a grenade launcher that you can just make ammo for forever and just keep destroying walls, because then again we're back to the original problem of people could just shoot your walls down, the building becomes trivialized. So then we said, okay, well, what other kind of ways do we have of doing this? So like that's where you have stuff like, okay, it's sort of like a limited use rare thing where like you get to make it a little bit and then it goes away.
Let's be very, very clear. These weapons that we're showing you today are like high-end weapons that you're not going to have access to early in the game necessarily.
Absolutely, right? and not only that, but like these particular types of weapons, it's probably impossible for you guys to see here, but like some of the weapons, they don't have ammo, they have sort of durability. So whenever you shoot them, your durability will go down a little bit. So there's a limited number of shots, and you have to make a whole new gun in order to get more shots. So they're a little bit harder to come by because we really, Fortnite is above all an action building game. We want to emphasize the building aspects of it.
Build some floors.
Yeah,
a little F2 action.
F2.
I know, but I'm trying to help him out though. And then, well, for a minute I was gonna troll him. I was gonna trap him down there, but
that wouldn't have been very nice.
I did. Okay, great, awesome. Oh, that was a horrible.
Now you're trapping him
build.
again.
Oh yeah, Good luck getting out of there, bud. All right.
some floors need to be, or you can try.
All right, fine.
People demand
Back off
F2.
me. I am the architect. I will spout mumbo jumbo to you. Architecture.
We need to kill more things.
So yeah, can we spawn in some more enemies to see?
See how to lay waste to them with a grenade launcher.
With a grenade launcher.
Ridiculous.
Or a rocket launcher.
Yeah, I don't want people to get the idea that it's going to be this easy to kill stuff. These guns are like crazy overpowered.
So
right
just
now.
give us so many that we all die.
All right.
Lots of enemies.
That we all die? Oh wow.
I mean, let's try not to.
Overwhelming force is what you're saying. Well, we don't want him to break this house of traps that we've constructed.
That's true.
Don't want that to happen.
Don't. But yeah, he's spawning a bunch of enemies and a little grenade action.
Katana action over here.
Yeah, see how it just drops enemies. So by contrast, if I use this is like the harvesting tool.
All right, that's good.
Woohoo! Oh, this is awesome.
That's good.
Use the grenade, our little cluster bomb grenade. Yep.
I feel like a samurai right now.
Mission accomplished.
All right, awesome.
Then we got a John Woo ninja over there shooting some Uzis.
All right, so there are a couple really special, unique weapons that we also included in today's stream. There is the dragon pistol.
Yes.
Do we have an image of the dragon pistol?
I did not provide an image of the dragon pistol.
You can kind of see it. I'm trying to like.
But there is one, I believe, on the website right now.
Okay.
I'm actually using a laser blade.
Wait, let me see the laser blade.
It's pretty sweet. It's got some technology happening.
Let's see
Make
some
lasers. I
mean, laser things happening.
Yeah, I don't know if any lasers shoot out of it, but it definitely cuts through people like a laser. So.
How does a laser cut through people?
I don't know.
All right, here we go. All right, so the dragon gun. Let's get some enemies. Drop some fools.
So, with each of these designs, they have very different, feels to them. And some of the more futuristic weapons definitely look really cool. We talked about some of the inspirations for those. When you get to really unique weapons like this, is there like a moment where the team is just like, oh yeah, that's it. That's Fortnite right there.
Well, I mean, certainly that's going to be more on the art side.
Art side.
I mean, you know, when they come up with ideas, like a lot of times, like you know, because designers are kind of boring people, we say things like, there needs to be a weapon that follows a certain type of pattern. Like we need a mid-range weapon of medium ammo consumption that can deal amount of damage, and then like an artist will be like, dude, what if it was a dragon pistol? And then it's like, oh, okay, like that's super cool. Or we'll make a request like, hey, we need something super awesome, like to, you know, like just to give you an example, like that that plasma pulse that the constructor just dropped there. That was essentially my request. Was like, I need a thing that the constructor can drop that gives area denial damage abilities. And then Tim was like, what if it looked like this? You know, so a lot of times like art will come up with these inspirations for like specifically like what these look like, or interpreting kind of design requests in that space.
Okay.
And sometimes the designer's just like specifically, no man, I need a dragon pistol and I want it to look like a dragon, but. You know, it's kind of it's a give and take.
Can we get some smashers in here?
That grenade launcher.
Oh, gotta run, gotta go.
Use 2. No, you don't have any.
No, I don't, because I'm all weapons all the time.
You gotta.
See, look at that. Look how powerful that dragon gun is. Oh, dropped. So normally it's not that easy to kill enemies.
No, especially not the smash.
One of the other things I want to mention, he's talking about the power of it is there was a system of upgrading weapons and having weapon progression. Can you kind of speak to how that came to be and why that?
So yeah, a little bit of it. Now I'm not going to go into details because a lot of this is still, you know, works in progress, and we're still talking about this. But essentially, there is a progression of weapons. So like you know, when you start off, you've got a lot of, you know, like we call it like the handmade stuff, like your handmade katana, your handmade pickaxe. You know, this represents like, hey, you know, you just woke up, you went into your bathroom, and you're like, what can I use in here and turn into a weapon kind of stuff. But then eventually, as you become, you know, more badass and more cool, and you get more stuff, you start to be able to build some of these cooler, techier pieces, and that's kind of like, you know, from a purely high level standpoint, that is progression, right? You're going from your broom with a knife on it, board with a nail in it, to your laser guns, to your dragon guns, to your grenade launchers. And so as players progress and unlock power in the game, they become more powerful, and these weapons sort of progress through that as they go through the traditional rarities. Like you got your green weapon, your purple weapon, your orange weapon.
Okay.
No, I died. I'm sorry.
So one other weapon that we want to show off is the Zapatron. I don't know of anyone that is. I think there was some talk. There was some talk. Other forums, you know, once we showed off the dragon pistol, I believe we showed it off.
Help me get my backpack.
But the Zapatron is another one of those weapons where it's really cool to look at. Visuals on it. Has a bit of an AOE on it. I also believe so. If you shoot at a wall, for example, this weapon will take down a wall. And this is just another one of the cool things I want to show Wes. Having trouble hitting the husk.
Nah, I was hitting headshots all day, every day. What you talking about? I was missing on purpose.
Right.
You know, I want to show the common man, you know, like their experience.
Wow. Is that what the rest of us are to you, Wes?
You know, wait, let's see. Oh, that's right.
Dude, you just totally wrecked the ground there.
I did.
The ground is done.
Mother Nature. There we go. Where's monkeys? Come on, we can use monkeys. There's not enough monkeys.
So let's start showing off some of the traps here. So let's get
the wall of traps.
Oh,
the wall. There's a couple of different traps that we've set up
of traps.
a little bit for this stream today. We have kind of showcasing Cootie's design. So what he's done is basically chained together building with some of the in level surfaces and pits and things of that nature to just add one big trap to his fort, as we showed earlier. We kind of we found a house that had a basement, so we made a pit with the basement, and then we built a structure around that. Basically, as husks come in, these are all jump pads that are around the flooring. They will jettison and hit the roof because they're slanted roofs that will actually fall into the pit. So this is some of the emergent gameplay that players are coming up with in OT2 that when we see it, we're like, oh man, that's really cool. One of the big questions I have for you, Cameron, is were some of these weapon designs and traps and stuff, Was you guys making a conscious decision to be like, it would be cool if we chain together this and this?
So it's not so much that like, people didn't go around and go, oh, hey, would it be cool if we had like a spike trap and a jump trap and we put those together? But the like sort of like high level mission statement is, all right, is Fortnite is a toolkit. So like the idea is that we provide things like we always intended them to be used together. Like we don't just say specifically you're going to make a jump pad for this, you're going to make a spike trap for this.
Here they come.
We're going to make jump pads, we're going to make spike traps, and we're going to make all these things, and then we expect players to kind of come up with how they use them and leverage them together to make stuff like this, because that's kind of what Fortnite's all about. So while we didn't particularly, no one was thinking, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we had a slanty roof building with jump traps that knock people into a pit? That's certainly not something that was thought. The idea that players would come up with stuff like this was absolutely always core to the design.
Okay. So you guys can see what's kind of happening here as they get thrown in.
Where's our smashers at? Oh man, I'm out of.
How many are down there now? Ooh.
Well, I've been. Oh no, I fell in the pit.
No.
No.
How? That's the only thing you weren't supposed to do.
You don't fall into the pit where they're.
Yeah, build the stairs. Build the stairs. No.
No,
you
they're gonna
trapped
come
me.
back up. They're coming back up.
You weren't supposed to run under there, dude.
No.
Here.
That defeated
All
the
right,
purpose.
hold on.
Yeah, if you build the stairs, can't they get out?
They can get
Yes,
out.
they can. Ah, yeah. Oh crap.
Our AI is too smart. They know how to use
I was
stairs.
stuck in the stairs and now I'm gonna die. This is horrible television. I
You can't die on television.
It's true. You can't do that
come
on
up here. Wait,
television.
don't-
Oh, all right, all right, all right.
All right, here we go. I'm out.
I guess you can come
Out.
back.
Totally tried to trap West down there.
Here we go. Zapatron stop.
Oh wow, there's still more down there. Here they go. Woo.
Oh yeah, this is like. Yeah, so
shooting fish in a barrel.
yeah, I was gonna say it out loud. Thanks for doing that, Cameron.
No problem. I'm here for you.
Now there's the Smasher. Now, the Smasher has some very unique properties as a monster. It basically runs through your base and destroys things. So setting it up can obviously be a little bit more difficult
there,
for
it's gonna
some
happen.
of these
It's gonna
traps.
Go, go,
happen
go.
right now, right there.
Yes.
Boom!
It can
Take a
currently
seat.
happen.
Smasher in a barrel.
What?
Sorry.
It's not really a
It's,
barrel, but sure.
it is now.
Oh, there's two of them in there.
It's the new thing.
So obviously every scenario is not going to be, you're not going to be able to do this in every scenario.
Right. And the other traps that we have set up right now, if you walk outside, we have some
outside.
traps out in front. These are just to show off some of the wall traps. There's also some floor traps, ceiling.
I thought that, wait, they're not up front. Let's see
They're
on the
out-
other side.
way out front, so you got to
Follow me.
other side, right in front of that wall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Will is going to kind of bait some of these folks in here, and we just you can shoot at some of them, Wes, but we just kind of want to show off.
Oh, you want me to shoot
some
at?
of the-
Oh, husks or?
No, well, Will is going to be our bait.
All right, do it.
He's going to be the husk bait. They're going to spawn out by you, so you're also going to be. So he's going to just jump in front of the walls. And some of these, Cameron, we talked last week with James when he was on. He set up a wall trap that actually, if you remember, knocked down the husks into another trap, which was
There
a floor
are a
trap.
lot of
And then he kind of comboed those two together so that he could do that. So that's some of the kind of emergent gameplay that you guys have seen. It's like on the stream yesterday. Again, James setting up a wall trap to knock down the husks because they are attacking the Atlas. And then once they hit the flooring, then hit another trap to kind of deal damage. So
Yeah.
we built this one up. Wes, I would like you to run us through what you would build, and then we'll bait
I
a
have
husk
it
What I
into
would
your
build
trail
for this?
Stop.
What do
for
you
your
mean?
own traps. What if you had to build your own house of traps?
So generally,
I'm gonna put another trap up here. Here it
so
goes.
we have all sorts of things that aren't necessarily even traps, but a lot of times what we'll do is we'll build, I'll build like a. Oh, I gotta press the F button, but I'll go and I'll like build like, I don't know, maybe like half walls, and then I will put those in. I'll kind of like lead them into it, so. Maybe so we'll have an open area that they can be hit by trap. Well, the traps are gone now. Damn it.
You can play
So
some of
you
your
can
own.
do a
I
lot of
just
stuff
added
where
another.
you create structures that sort of feed people into feed enemies into the. Although I think in the new build, can't they jump over half-height walls?
I don't know if they can jump over the half-height walls, but I do know that smashers just destroy them instantly when they walk into them. So
wow.
That's like
Is that a new
essentially-
thing?
No, that was from OT1. It's just
And then
a
you
lot
can
of people
set
don't notice
floors
it.
down. So really, like, if you go, and shout out to, I don't know if you guys know the Pitchford family. The guys work over, Randy and his son who played this game before. They took a whole tile of this game, and they cleared out the whole tile and did traps in almost every part of the map. So like basically they spent so much time doing that the whole map was just filled with this type of stuff where the enemies could like do nothing. Now, obviously it would take a really long time to do that, and I don't even know if you could gather enough resources because I think we cheated them. But like people have all sorts of crazy ways that they're doing that. I've seen like whole communities of traps built up and things like that.
Right.
So but yeah, it's like a Rube Goldberg machine, right? Like you can come up with all sorts of ways. It's like, oh, I'm gonna launch this guy up here, and then this is a good one too. It's like here's a launcher, and then there's like shock traps up here, so they immediately come in here and they get shocked. They get launched up and shocked and die. You can see them come through here, which this is one of my favorites actually. But sometimes this stuff, you can see them. They're just launching. They're just launching over. Sometimes it has unintended consequences. So like you could set a trap, and it will launch them, and then it will just launch them on top of your base where they have easier access to your gate or whatever. So you definitely have to be careful of that, because you'll see some of these guys will actually, although I think their hit points are low, some of these guys will, oh man, I gotta get out of here. Some of these guys will, here's my harvesting tool. Let's see, here we go. They will launch over top of this and miss it altogether, but you can just continue and like build some more roots here. That will prevent that. It would it corrals them some more. I think I have some healing trap. That's 7, 2.
Now, some of our the Will, Josh, and Natalie, they're kind of up on the roofs.
Yeah.
And Cameron, there are also, we saw one over on the House of Traps that we've made, the floor traps, where it's a player jump pad. Mm-hmm. What type of decision making did you guys have about players using specific traps for their own benefit?
Going back to like one of the names I mentioned earlier, Matt Hansey is kind of like the trap wizard, and he just sort of like was making stuff that he thought was cool. And like a lot of times, I guess games start out with sort of like general ideas of, well, we know we want to have traps, but we don't really know what they are. And it takes like a guy like Matt going in there and just being like, let me see what we can do with the tools we have. And look, I made a spike trap. Look, I made a jump pad trap. Do we want this? I don't know. And then we put it in the game, and then some people were like, oh man, I really like this. This is fun because I can use this to go from base to base, especially in those multi-gate captures. A lot of people are really ingenious with their, like, they can make like jump trads that let them go from gate 1 to gate 2 or another stuff like that. So there's a lot of different ways to express your creativity with those traps, certainly. And like I said, the metaphor is Fortnite is a toolkit. So anything that is a tool that players could use to achieve their goals, we're all for adding those kind of things. And sometimes we're not even sure why we're adding something. We just know it would be really cool to have this in the game because like we know that there's a need for this. And it's not so much specifically like we're going to add this particular thing because of this scenario. Like I said before, it's like we're going to add this thing because this thing by itself is cool, and we think players can use this thing to achieve their goals.
Have you seen any emerging gameplay like the floor traps? And this is just a kind of a broad question. Like the floor traps that fall into the pit where that then goes, oh, okay, that would be cool to make or design around another type of trap or weapon.
It's usually like, so we like, again, when we're approaching these kind of design questions, a lot of times we're not specifically designing for like, it's not like you're going to see like, okay, monsters got launched into a pit, wasn't that cool, let's do that. It was more like we have to be able to, because not every player is going to get super excited about launching monsters into a pit, right? There's a certain type of player out there that's going to be like, oh my god, I want to do that, that's exciting. Another type of player is going to go, that seems boring, I'd rather just kill them all. Or another player might say, hey, but my whole expression, and this is like, if you get into like game theory, like the expression of self-mastery, right? Like my expression of mastery is I want to make a fort that's so impenetrable that I don't even have to do anything. I'm just going to sit here and watch them helplessly flail against my ironclad walls. And that's exciting for them. So you want to make sure that your gameplay can kind of support all these things. So we're looking at design challenges. We're always talking about, okay, what is the mode we're making? Like right now we have gate capture.
Right.
What is the goal of gate capture? It's like, well, guys come to attack a thing, and we have to protect the thing. How do you protect the thing? Well, there's lots of different ways players can protect the thing. Do we offer them enough choices to protect the thing? Can they protect the thing in a way that's fun for them? Do they have agency and mastery in that? Is there a way for players to protect the thing in ways which are meaningful to them? Are we forcing players into no, this is the only way you can protect the thing? And that's really the only thing we're trying to avoid.
Okay. Oh, so we got a complex
Yeah, but you
series
can
of
funnel guys
traps.
with stuff like this too, where it's just like you build little walls, half-height walls, and you angle them in different ways. And again, they come through the funnel like it's some sort of Rube Goldberg machine, and you can put a jump pad here, and then they land on this thing, and then it's a spike trap, and but obviously the end goal, at least for right now, one of our objectives is the gate capture. So you're constantly playing keep away, right? Let's see. Yeah,
Cool
this
stuff.
one's
Has there been anything that we have not? I think we could throw.
any more enemies at some stuff?
We
Some
haven't.
different types of enemies.
I know that the electric husk or the electric smasher is.
Let's throw all sorts of stuff in there. Let's throw. I mean, I think there's a couple we're not showing, but there, we can.
If you put a smasher on one end of those single walls, he should charge through those. Oh, there's
See,
one.
so he's kind of. Oh, yeah, he's already bashing through them. Oh.
Yeah, see, he just decides
Oh
that.
no!
You have your stick.
Yeah, I know. Thanks. Oh.
You can do it well.
Oh,
No,
Try.
Wes is gonna die.
I'm gonna make you a health pack.
Oh!
Oh, jeez. Oh, you died.
It's electric.
Got that for
It's electric.
Yeah.
He
Boogie
sent your
woogie
body
woogie.
sliding.
No, no.
Yeah, I'm making all these really
Drains-
relevant references.
Yeah.
Like the electric slide.
But I got it.
Did you get the? I can make like an electric boogaloo.
No,
reference? Would you get
no,
that?
that wouldn't.
No.
No.
Breaking 2. You should look it up. IMDb.com.
So the electric smasher is one of the special monsters. I think we're going to show off a couple different ones. Josh, if you could spawn perhaps
Yeah,
a
do it.
propane or a blaster.
I'll stay away. I'll stay a little bit farther back because I apparently am horrible at this game. I mean, I'm not really horrible, but
You just can't take 101.
I'm not a
fights.
KL. I mean,
You
know,
can't take
who is
one-on-ones.
though. Oh yeah, so let's talk about the enemies. So what was that one that just spawned? Oh, that's my backpack.
The husky husk.
Yeah.
So those clouds are like basically where he's.
Poisonous.
Yeah. His
And it
barf,
kinda
barf
makes-
gas. I don't. Is that the technical term? I don't.
More.
Yeah.
We need more.
Well,
more
the technical
barf
term
gas.
is the. I think it's called like a enemy collision volume or something like that.
Yeah, let's not say that.
Yeah, we
No.
don't. I don't think we want the technical term.
No. So boring.
Hey kids!
think we all just
check out
fell
our
asleep.
enemy collision volume.
Hey, listen, you asked for the technical term.
So one of the things that kind of adds to the weapons you use and
Where
the
are
traps
they?
you build is the different the different enemies that are in the game.
Yeah.
So
Dance
a
party.
lot of decision making
Graphics on level 4. Here we go.
for example for the
what's
propane
Oh, I'm sorry. I was.
husks are that they will blow up your base if you let them. They'll throw down the propane and blow
Yeah.
things up. So it
Boom.
kind of makes using a weapon that's longer range
Headshot.
or attacking them before they even get to your base
Whoa.
a lot more readily apparent once you see them in action.
Yes. Well, I mean, obviously, like if you're going up against
Oh,
a lot of smashers
bees,
and
we've
you
got
make
bees.
a bunch of level 1 walls, you're going to have a bad time. If you go up against a lot of bee guys and you're using
Bees
a
on
bunch
this map.
of
Bees on
melees,
this
you're
map.
going to have a bad time. So, like, being able to adjust your strategy to what you're fighting
Right.
is certainly important. And, like, showing that elemental guy earlier, like, some of the elemental-themed creatures deal more damage to certain kinds of structures. Like, the fire guys deal more damage to wood structures, and the lightning
come
guys
on.
do more damage to metal
Oh,
structures.
wow.
So,
That was a
you're,
delayed
if
reaction.
you build just all one thing and you're fighting, and those are, like, late-game
They are,
concepts.
they are.
But like as you get into those kind of things, like we're hoping that players will be able to alter their building, alter their play style to kind of adapt to different challenges. And again, going back to that Fortnite as a toolkit metaphor.
This is the pitcher husk.
So, yeah,
if
pitcher
anybody hasn't
husk.
seen it before. Oh, they throw, instead of baseballs, they throw bones.
I think you're about to die.
There's another
I am
husky
about to
husk
die as
Back west.
I'm running
with his
away. I'm gonna run. I'm gonna do some
collision
some long
volume
range
or
snipey
something.
snipe
What did you?
up here on the roof. Let's see. Oh, see, not too bad. Not too bad. Oh, that was bad.
So
There
with
we
the husky husk and the what was it, the bee husk? That one I don't actually know the technical name of either.
The
but
beehive
I
husk.
don't
Beehive
want to
husk.
I don't want to
That's the
actually
name.
say any
That's-
of those names because I don't know any of them either.
That's the name.
So-
Beehive husk.
Okay, I believe you.
Yeah, it is. Because I was in a meeting one time and we were like, what should we call it? A beehive husk. Okay, cool, done.
So obviously, like a very common gameism, they've got a cloud of stuff you should not walk in,
Yep.
or you
It's,
die very
it's like
fast.
an area of effect. So how quickly will the area of effect kill you?
Very.
Very
I
fast.
Very
tested
fast.
it and I've died many times. So I
Oh
can
wow,
confirm.
okay, the electric husks. I can run into this little herd of electric husk raptor type things here.
Mini husks.
Mini husks.
Those are some
Ah.
incredible effects.
So I can
On
try
those
to
guys.
escape in this little, make them, yeah, that's right. Hold them up. So that slowing enemies up is just as good sometimes as traps. It gives you a chance to get away.
So with that, we've seen a couple different weapons,
Oh, fire.
a couple different types of traps. Guys got some concepts. We showed off Cootie's design, so shout out to Cootie's in this particular show today.
It's the first time I'm a big fan of cooties, really.
Cootie's is
since
awesome.
second grade, right?
Yeah, it's true.
But what we want to do, we're going to basically wrap up the show today. Hope you guys all enjoyed it. Remember to use that hashtag Fortnite Live. And
I'd like some monkeys to take us out. We need some monkeys.
Dawson's gonna overwhelm us with husks.
All right,
Us?
overwhelm us and
Oh,
overwhelm
where?
us with the love of monkeys.
Oh,
God.
jeez.
That's so
No,
many.
no,
It's all the
no.
smashers.
No.
No! Save
What-
us, monkeys!
what would you like to know about Fortnite? Hashtag Fortnite Live.
What's happening?
Help me.
There's lots of smashing going on. I think that Wes is going to die yet again. We should have a. We
I'm
should
just
have
trying
a.
to.
We
a
should
death
have a
counter
Wes
on the
death
bottom.
counter
Oh
on the
yeah,
bottom.
that's right. You can't get me behind this poorly put together wall, Smasher.
Look at me. I'm holding my own.
We hope you
Yeah.
all enjoyed today's show. Make sure to follow us on Twitch, Twitter,
Oh.
Facebook,
Finally
all the
died.
places that you can is to stay up to speed on everything Fortnite.
MySpace, Friendster.
No, not those things. Not those things. But we will be back next week. I believe the show is going to be on Tuesday of next week as we wrap up OT2. So I'm
Oh
looking
my
forward to
gosh.
seeing everyone in the
Oh,
stream.
oh!
It's an
And we
inferno.
will see you all next week.
Friendster.
Oh.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Monkey.